Hello, dear educators. Welcome to Discuss Education powered by Linways. And this is Knowledge Series where we discuss education with an eminent academician. Today, we are going to discuss about digital transformation in education. And our guest today is Dr. E.J. James, the Pro Vice Chancellor of Karunya Deemed University, Coimbatore. Dr. E.J. James served as scientist for 30 years in the Center for Water Resources Development and Management, Calicut, and retired as a scientist G and executive director of CWRDM, and simultaneously served as the director of Irrigation Management Training Institute of Kerala. After his retirement, he was instrumental in establishing the Water Institute, a center of excellence at Karunya Deemed University, and introduced MTech in Integrated Water Resources Management and PhD program in Water Resources Engineering and Management. He also served as the Dean Research, Dean School of Agriculture and Biosciences, Pro Vice Chancellor and Vice Chancellor of KIDS, and presently is the Pro Vice Chancellor of Karunya Deemed University. He has carried out more than 80 funded research projects in the area of water for DST, MOEF and CC, Drinking Water Mission, etc. of the Government of India. Dr. James took up joint projects with NGOs within Kerala and outside. He served as the chairman of the Research Council of CWRDM and also the chairman of the steering committee of the National Wetland Atlas, a joint venture of MOEF, CC, and SAC. He has guided more than 24 students in their MTech and PhD research assignments. He has more than 100 research papers to his credit in national and international journals and conference proceedings. It is my immense pleasure to welcome Dr. James, sir, to Knowledge Series. Hello, sir. Welcome to Knowledge Series.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our request. It is really a pleasure and honor to have you here. And to make this session more interesting, I have with me Mr. Bastin Thomas, founder and CEO of Linways, an organization enabling digital transformation in higher education. I welcome Bastin. Welcome, Bastin.
Yes, thank you, Adarsh.
So, so without much delay, we can start. So, Bastin, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Adarsh. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation and joining this beautiful knowledge series session. So, as you know, the topic is the purpose of digital transformation in higher education sector, and we believe in your valuable insights will be useful for the entire teaching community. So, as Adarsh said, without much delay, we can start the session. So, can we start the session, sir?
Sure.
The first question is related to the digital transformation itself. So what is the definition of digital transformation in the context of education? So we all know that actually the digital transformation is a buzzword in the industry quite a long time. So what is the definition of digital transformation in the context of education? So we are looking for your valuable insights on this, sir.
Digital transformation actually means any technology which helps an institution, a group of people, or individuals to enhance productivity and also to improve the efficiency and effectiveness. It eliminates the barriers to education, especially imposed by space and time, and it provides quality learning for students. From students' point of view, this cutting-edge technology improves their learning and boosts the cognitive retention of the student community. From the teacher's point of view, it gives them new avenues and new levels of productivity. From the institution point of view, it helps to discover new tools and models to add value to the teaching learning process. If you ask me, digital transformation in the context of higher education helps leveraging digital technologies for enabling major improvement in education, enhance learner and teacher experience, and to come out with more instructional models which are based on policies, planning, partnership, and support. This is something which we will have to understand when we are talking about digital learning. Now, Gregory Well, in his definition, says, I'll read it out, a series of deep and coordinated culture, workforce, and technology shift, enabling new educational and operational models that change an institution's operations, strategic directions, and value propositions. Whatever you may say, digital transformation is driven by and built on digital technologies. I think it gives you a general idea about the technology, digital transformation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So actually, yeah, so as you mentioned, actually, that is not a single technology. It's a combination of technologies. It will transform the entire life cycle of students and teachers. That's you meant by the digital transformation. So it will improve the productivity of each stakeholders in the education sector.
Yeah. You were asking about the benefits.
Yeah.
Why?
So the second question is, what are the benefits for institution in adopting digital transformation?
Yeah. When an institution is adopting this, they should have a framework for digital transformation. And what is that framework going to be is a question. Now, first of all, I just want to tell you, there is a big challenge for the institutions to go for this. For example, the chairman of IBM once said, the birds which come from Siberia, they fly all the way and come to Pond Kalimar wetlands in Tamil Nadu. When they fly such long distances, they change the guard, the vanguard. One bird flies for some time, and on its drag, the others come and they change over. They are very skilled. So you have to consider that the academic community is also equally skilled, more skilled. And when you deal with them for a change, it's a big challenge. So how you go about it? When you initially introduce such a thing, what happens is that there will be a small resistance, followed by the faculty may say that this is not practical. And if you still insist upon it, there will be a slight anger on the part of the faculty members who do not want to follow it. And then you go to the next step, you are still insistent, they will slowly say, let us give it a try. The next stage can be, okay, it is fine, I will go along with it. And finally, they reach the goal. But those who are having vision will straight go as a straight line from what it is today. They will adopt the digital technologies very fast. So there is a challenge for the organizations in this. Now, if you look at it, Weil again says that there are 4 structural changes required for the institutions to go for digital learning. These 4 structural changes are changes in the organizational structure. The cultural ecosystem will have to undergo great changes. Then leadership changes may be necessary in some of the institutions. And finally, the role and skill of the employees, here the teachers and students, without change. These are the challenges which are being faced by the institutions when they implement it. Now, when you're talking about the digital learning technologies, whether it is LMS, synchronous technologies, multimedia applications, and also the collaborative applications, cloud-based technologies, emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, VR, AR, and all that, and the analytics. These are some of the things which we will have to inculcate with great care among the faculty, and a skill will have to be developed for them to follow this. And instructional modalities, when we are talking about the on-campus technologies, the hybrid blended technologies, asynchronous and synchronous technologies, and high flex, all these are points to be looked at apart from personal and support services within an institution, organizational policies and planning to help digital transformation, and instructor development, how you go about it. These are all great challenges for a higher education institution, especially an higher education institution in this country. And the learner development is one of the most important things, where the computers and internet, the time management, etc., are some of the factors. Above all, there should be partnerships. These partnerships will have to be developed between the higher education institution and other universities. And they have to also build partnerships with the professional bodies and also with, finally, the industries. All these are essential challenges for a higher education institution to implement digital transformation.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so actually, what role do you think technology will play in the future of higher education?
Technological side, as you know, that we are in the midst of transfer, technology introductions. You know that COVID-19 made most of the higher education institutions to go a long way in their digital transformation. But they have not come to the end of it, or they have not fulfilled all the requirements to reap the fruits of better productivity. They still have to go a long way. If you ask me, some of the institutions are not having the physical infrastructure for doing it. When I say this, you require a lot of physical infrastructure to build on the digital transformation. And some of the institutions do not have the required software to go for that. When I'm talking about the software, especially in the analytics, it can deal with any sort of software which you think is necessary. For example, when I'm talking about the analytics, I think of the entire system will have to be changed for a digital transformation. The admission process, the placement process, the recruitment process, and the marketing process. If you ask me, the entire administrative system may have to undergo great change. This in the Indian context will take time, though most of the institutions have now perhaps digitized the financial transactions and certain other things. The campus management system has been streamlined. There are a lot more to be added to the campus management system now. When you're talking about accreditation, I feel that slowly the UGC, AICT, ICAR, and other agencies are going for online systems for not only the accreditation purposes, but also for ranking purposes. If these are going to take place, a lot more of software support may be needed in the institutions to go for the transformation which we are talking about.
Okay, thank you, sir. So you mentioned some of the parts of digital transformation in higher education sector. So in your opinion, how does an institution participate in the process of digital transformation? So you mentioned some parts in your previous questions, in previous answers. But in a definition, what we can say, not in a definition, what's the kind of process in your opinion? So the question is something like this. In your opinion, how does an institution participate in the process of digital transformation?
When you are talking about participation, as I have pointed out earlier, there are the higher education institution, first of all, should be linked up with other higher education institutions, especially the universities within India and outside. The second thing is that they should also link up with the professional institutions. These are essential because it may be possible for them to share some of the facilities which they have, and they may be willing to share it with the institutions. And they have to link up with the industries. For example, if you ask me, the academia industry linkages connect is comparatively poor in this country. For example, in a developed country like the United States or Israel, you find that the institutions get their projects mainly from the industries to solve some practical problems which they have. If the institutions are not able to do that, they have no existence. And professors may not be able to continue in the institution if they don't attract projects from industries. But in the case of this country, what we find is that there is an inhibition on the part of the industries to come closer to the academicians, and the academicians have certain inhibitions to go closer to the industries. It's either because of some areas which are not clear. I'm not very sure about the reasons for this, but it is already existing. Now, the academic institutions can easily link up with the industries, and industries can go to the academic institutions to solve their problems, whether it is a product development, a process development, or anything which they want. They can depend on the academic institutions, which will bring down their cost on the R&D, which is being spent by the academic institutions. This is something which we'll have to look at when we are talking about the partnership. Now, the institutions also should link up with the experts in the area. This is very, very important. The people who have advanced knowledge, they have gone forward considerably in the area of digital transformation. They have to consult them, get their support to build on that. And some of the resources can be shared. For example, I'll tell you, you've got the facilities like library, or even you can go in for a virtual laboratory. And the advantage is that the books which are available in certain libraries elsewhere, they may be able to share in their institutions. So this is another important area of partnership which we'll have to build up. And the providers of support, software, know-how have a major role in this. They can be the catalysts. They can come up with new areas where they can provide something, some innovation, so that the higher education institutions can go forward for their support to build on it. So this is the type of partnerships which I feel the higher education institutions will have to go for. If they do that, I see a great advantage. What are those advantages, if you ask me? You find that you get the best of experts. whether he is in the US, in Germany, or China. They are available online for you to discuss, for you to consult, and for you to make them give a lecture in an international conference. It is not necessary for them to travel such a long distance, to spend such a lot of money and come over to a place. Today, it is possible, and we will explore the possibilities of that. And if there are some students who requires an add-on course, which is important for India, for example, biodiversity of this country, some of the students in Europe are interested to know about it. The lectures can be given, they can be taught, and they can have an add-on course for the biodiversity of the Western Ghats, for example, if they are interested. So this is another possibility I see in partnership. And what is needed is that within a decade, or even less than that, we should have one single community of academicians, professionals, and the industries, and also providers who make one single world, as they were saying, one ecumenopolis, where they interact, they have a robust interaction and development. And it's a win-win process. All the concerned parties win in the game. I think that is what we will have to think of when we are talking about participation and partnership in the area of digital transformation.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, in one of our, the previous conversation, you mentioned about the difference between the digitization and digital transformation. So you mentioned that actually the digitization and digital transformation is different. So would you explain in little much more about that particular cases, the digitization and digital transformation?
You know, initially when we started talking about digitization, we thought of only online teaching and learning. But today it has come a long way. It is not just online teaching and learning. It is not just an LMS. It is much more than that. For example, I'll tell you a few examples. Now, as you have said, these challenges call for student learning environment. What is this student learning environment? It is not just online classes, or you have uploaded something and the student just looks at it. You know, the TEDx classes and the wider application of AR and artificial intelligence tools have helped considerably the student community to learn one-to-one learning. And when we are talking about it, we have got three types of digital learning possible. One, we can call it face-to-face. Another one is, as you call it, the blended, or you want to call it hybrid, whatever you want to call it, blended and hybrid. The third one is the distance mode. Those who cannot attend regular classes because of some reason or other, they can have online, and you can have it as distance mode education. Now, teaching in a virtual environment, when we are talking about one alone, like as I have said, TEDx, videos, YouTubes, it will help you to one alone. Okay, you learn by yourselves. Then you've got the one-to-one mode, whether it is emails or chat or whatever you want to say. You've got the third mode is one-to-many. You've got discussion forums, and you've got the wiki, the social media, you've got the blogs. All these are used for educational purposes, can be used for educational purposes. And many to many. Many to many can be web conferences, wiki, social media, all these help. So we have to think of the vastness of the area of digital transformation. And in each area, you require a lot of skill, a lot of expertise, and a lot of support for the higher education institutions. Think of the second field, enhancing programs operational efficiency. This is another area which is a part and parcel of digital transformation. The analytics have taken over this field. If you ask me, the enrollment, the admissions, the recruitment, the branding, the marketing, all these depend on this. Now, if you ask me, the campus management on which we were discussing, it is also a part of it. Now, you can have descriptive analytics to analyze an existing situation. You can go for predictive analytics to have a forecast of what is going to happen, what is the future scenario. If you want to know, you can have a predictive analytics. And we can also go for a diagnostic analytics to identify the problems and to rectify it. So these are all areas which are coming under the vast area of digital transformation. Now, think of increasing the computer power. Now, I have spoken two things now, the student learning environment and teaching in a virtual environment. Now you think of increasing the computer power. You know that in earlier times when we were studying, we had to buy the journals. And we had to have the back issues of the journals bound and kept in the library. And we had to buy all the books. Now today you find there is no need for you to buy the books, buy the journals. You just subscribe and you get it digitally. And your PhD students, wherever they are, they have an access to it. They do the literature survey using it. They do the learning process by that. This is PhD scholars. So think of the width and depth of transformations which have taken place. I cannot imagine it. I belong to an area, I don't belong to the digital native. But I find today, without that, you cannot guide your PhD students. You have to also update and come to their standards and then cater to their requirements. And if you further ask, we are talking about the virtual laboratories. For example, the Karunya University has entered into an MOU with the Florida International University. Their virtual laboratory on cybersecurity is open for the students in Karunya to learn cybersecurity problems and solve their problems. So this is something which was unimaginable a decade back. And today we can have it. And come to the stimulating innovations. You know that with all this digital media, if the faculty members are using, students are using, they get considerable free time to do innovation. Earlier, after their teaching learning process, the teachers are tired, the students are tired, they go back and sleep. They did not have time to spend on innovations, incubation, and startups. Today they have time. And they can improve upon their innovations and incubation process using the digital media. And it is essential for education today. There was an earlier generation which was not bothered about innovation. They were not bothered about the products. They were not bothered about the processes. They were not bothered about the solutions. They were only interested in closed room teaching and increasing the knowledge. For what, if you ask, as an engineer, I'll say, I don't know. Why all this knowledge? And there was a time in each semester you had a mathematics paper, and we never knew why this mathematics we are studying. So that should not happen today. The students should be able to understand why they are studying. And don't you think that there is an element of cost cutting in this whole game? When you go for digital transformation, the cost can be cut down. When you are having your AR, AI tools, we can bring down the cost. Initially, perhaps it may be capital intensive, but as the time goes by, the cost can be brought down. So this gives you a total view of, I wanted to give you an exposure as far as I know about the higher education institutions, how digital transformation is going to bring in a new world altogether when we are entering into Industry 5.0 ecosystem. Yeah, you have got any more questions?
Yes. Actually, so it was very insightful thoughts, kind of thought-provoking. So the question you asked, actually, what is the purpose of all the knowledge? So it's so that's a question. Actually, in the closed classroom, the students will learn lots of things, but in the practical implementation and those kind of times, without without this knowledge, only knowledge will not be useful, as you mentioned. I think so. You are intended to said that it was a useful this thing. So I think you given us 30 minutes. So I think thank you for your valuable time for this beautiful discussion. I think it will be useful for the teaching community and those who are looking for the digital transformation in their institution or in their teaching learning process. Thank you very much, sir.